when to push and when to rest. That's a very common question that we ask ourselves, diba? For me, as I'm recording this video, for the past week, I have been resting a lot and I've been escaping some of my responsibilities and tasks because I just feel like I'm in a depressive episode right now and it's so hard to push through because things are just difficult. But today, I managed to show up for two events that I committed to. So one is a talk for engineering students and fresh grads about adulting. And the next one is my Ikigai workshop that I held for 3 hours. I'm doing this video because it's a common thing that we struggle with, diba? How do we balance hustling and taking some rest? There are two states kasi that we have in our life. This is based on my observation. First state is when we are thriving, and second state is when we are merely surviving. Of course, when we're thriving, we push, we hustle, we do all the things that we want to do. But when we're surviving, kunyari, may mga crisis that we're encountering in our lives, with everything that's going on around us, or we are in a mental health episode because of our condition, then it's a different story. Our body needs to focus on survival. And in this case, we prioritize rest. I also listened to this podcast by the Savvy Psychologist on Spotify where they gave tips paano mo malalaman when to push or to rest. So the first one is identify whether the pain you are experiencing is acute or chronic. Meaning, is it the exception or is it the rule? For example, you encountered the passing of a family member or you encountered a very bad day wherein naka-receive ka ng sobrang negative message or you just don't feel so good, parang magkakasakit ka or it's something that one of a kind na hindi mo lagi nararamdaman. Then that's an acute kind of pain or kumbaga one time or exception to the rule, no. That means you have to rest. You have to give yourself time to heal and recover from whatever was causing that pain. Now, if yung pain that you are experiencing is more of a chronic kind of pain, kunyari, it's been there for a while, it's always showing up every now and then. Kunyari, if you're encountering a backache or muscle tension, muscle ache na parang chronic, then that's a sign that you need to push. Maybe you need to do your habit of exercising today kasi that will help the chronic pain, diba? So that's a sample lang of one thing to consider, whether it's time to rest or whether it's time to push and show up or whatever it is that you committed to. Another thing that you can ask yourself on whether you will push or rest is, have you enjoyed this thing before? Kunyari, me, I did a talk today and a workshop, and even though I wanted to rest kasi pagod ako the past week, I decided to show up and really push for this and not cancel because I know this is something that I have enjoyed before, and I know that doing this, even though physically tiring siya, it makes me fulfilled emotionally and mentally, and it will give me more motivation and it will help me recharge my spirit. So that's one deciding factor for me why I chose to push through for this one. So that's something you can consider. Again, ask yourself, have you enjoyed this before? If yes, then go for it. If not, maybe it's time to take a rest. And then number 3 is, can I picture myself being there? And when you picture yourself actually there, doing the thing that you're supposed to do, how does that make you feel? Na-imagine mo ba yung sarili mo na somehow na-enjoy mo naman siya? Or is it, na-feel mo na dinedread mo talaga siya na sobrang pangit ng feeling if you show up there and push yourself to do that? That will be a good indicator kasi for you diba? If tumuloy ka and na-envision mo yung sarili mo na okay ka naman doon, then go for it, push, do exercise. Yun yung sa akin struggle ko ngayon diba? Exercising. If you've enjoyed it before and you envision yourself actually out there doing the exercise, enjoying it, go. But if you imagine yourself na nag-show up ka nga pero half-assed naman yung effort mo and you're dreading it, then rest. So, those are just some things that you can consider when you're deciding whether to push or to rest. Again, and maybe lastly that you can also consider is this in line with my values? Ano ba yung values mo? For me, my values is freedom, stewardship, leadership, growth. So the things that I do, that I push for, are always aligned with those values. And we can have more values than 3 naman or 4 eh. We have a lot of values. Consider your values when you make that decision, whether you're gonna push or to rest. Again, it's all about finding the right balance, knowing when to rest and knowing when to push. You know yourself best, but also know whether your self-care is actually self-care or whether it's self-sabotage. Because those are two different things, but sometimes one gets mistaken for the other. Minsan din, the lack of self-care is self-sabotage in itself. We think we're pushing, we think we're grinding so much. But in fact, it's self-sabotage because we're not taking care of ourselves. And in the long run, that's not good. The other end of the spectrum is also bad. Na too much rest, too much escaping the tasks that we have to do. Then that's also a form of self-sabotage. For that is be aware. I hope this helps. Good luck whether you decide to push or to rest today. I hope you make the right decision based on the factors that I mentioned. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you.